Good evening, parents. Welcome to the information session about what a flipped classroom is. We're planning to undergo flipped classroom within the Stage 6 Year 11 Studies of Religion unit. And today I'm going to explain to you what that's going to look like, what a flipped classroom actually is, and some examples for your child as a parent or a caregiver to encourage, facilitate, and understand what this is going to look like for your child's educational journey. And so flipped classroom is a whole new approach, personal and relational, to educating a student. To think back when I was in school, in math class in particular, I would often struggle with reading off the board, writing down, and then trying to keep up with the pace of questions and answers within a textbook. Sometimes I used to want to just hit the pause button when they were explaining the formula, or have a little bit longer with the teacher when they came to me to spend some one-on-one time explaining the different contents of what we had just learned. To help you understand what a flipped classroom is and how it works, I'm going to present a microcosm of a flipped classroom for you. Let's follow the story of the students Ravi and Jessica. Two different students from very different backgrounds. Ravi is originally from Sri Lanka and he moved here when he was 10. He has always attended school. Ravi loves music and art and learns at a different pace to others in regards to a small language barrier. He struggles to keep up with the pace of the class but doesn't tell anyone because he is shy. Ravi loves to learn and learns effectively from watching and then doing. Jessica has been born and raised in Australia and she loves school. She enjoys history and music. When it comes to exams, Jessica finds the best way to study is through watching and then applying. These memories stay with her as she completes exams. Sometimes Jessica tunes out in class because she finds learning through textbooks and sitting still quite boring. For you to understand flipped and the benefit that it has for the students, I would choose one of the students that have just been discussed and present a timeline of what flipped will look like in the context of a home. Ravi is at home and the topic is studies of religion. This week it is a case study called Buddha and the Receiving of the Enlightenment. Ravi logs onto his computer and then goes onto School Moodle. He clicks on a video that is already placed there on YouTube, specifically posted for this lesson. Let's have a look at this video, which has been made from the class teacher to the class. It is only a short video, but specifically made short for you to have an idea of what it might look like for your child to go home and have a flipped video available for them. Good evening, class. It's Miss Nacelli here. Welcome to the case study of Buddha and the Enlightenment. This is the video, but also if you click on the web page, guys, you're going to find some separate websites where you might want to do a little bit more research after this video. But today we're going to talk about how Buddha received the Enlightenment, which in Buddhism, it meant the supreme understanding of life. And so we're going to start, and feel free, guys, to take notes as you go along. I encourage you to write stuff down, write questions down, come in tomorrow and say, Miss, I didn't understand this. Okay, so Buddha. So last week we did the case study of who Buddha was, where he came from. We know he came from a royal Indian family. He had a very interesting birth, as we learnt as well. He was born from the hip of his mother. An elephant gave her a lotus flower in a dream. And one day she reached up to that lotus tree and Buddha was born out of her hip. And there was said to be a great prophecy upon Buddha. It was said that he was going to be either a divine teacher or someone who received full enlightenment. And so now that's what we talk about today, is the enlightenment of Buddha. If you have any questions over the origins and the commencing of Buddha's life, feel free to go back to the video, have a little bit of a revision, and then come back to this one. Okay, so the receiving of the enlightenment, guys. The enlightenment means to draw light upon, to understand and receive supreme knowledge. And so we take Buddha and we take him on this journey. So starting at the very beginning of the enlightenment. So if you want to get your pens, and we're going to do this with you, and we're going to write down 1, and we're going to write down the commencing of Buddha's calling. So Buddha was said to have had a supreme calling on his life, like I said, from his birth. And so we've started with the commencing, right? And so the commencing happened when one time Buddha exited the palace that he was living in, and he saw suffering. And he had never seen this before because his father tried to suppress and defer anything suffering, because his father did not want him to become a prophet or a great teacher and receive this calling that he had. So he was highly sheltered. And so he went from commencing the understanding and seeing of suffering, and he went to his second stage of a journey. Buddha took many paths in searching for the ultimate meaning of life. So we're just going to write journey under commencing. He went and he visited multiple religious leaders. He went to extremes of the country, trying here and there, going through severe suffering. There are tales that say Buddha was eating 1 grain of rice a day. He was also sleeping on beds of nails, hanging upside down. And what Buddha's goal is to completely rid himself of selfishness, and maybe he would understand the meaning of life as he denied himself and sort of encountered new levels of suffering. He thought maybe that was it. And so religious leaders at that time were living like that, and they still live like that today. You can search that, and they still live like that today, which is they're still searching for something. And so Buddha went on that journey, and so number 3 was suffering. So he went through extreme suffering, but he still couldn't find an answer. So we're going to write number 3 on our books, guys. And then we're going to go to number 4, okay? Number 4 was compassion. He received compassion from someone. A woman was said to come up to Buddha and offer him a bowl of rice porridge. And so Buddha had been gone from eating 1 grain of rice. Today he was sick, he couldn't move, and he said, this isn't joy, this isn't fulfilling. And so when he received that bowl of rice porridge, he was said to have a revelation of understanding compassion and joy from others, and thought, this is something. And so he followed that thought, and he built up his strength again after being severely malnourished, and he went on a further journey. And now after he receives the compassion, this is a very quick demo of it all. It is what the Buddhists now call the enlightenment. Buddha received his enlightenment. So one day it was said that Buddha had sat under a big tree, and the god of temptation tempted him 3 times. 1 time with evil demons, the 2nd time with his beautiful daughters and women, and the 3rd time he confronted Buddha himself and tried to tempt him. But Buddha would not crack. He was sitting under this tree, convinced, absolutely convinced that that was not what he needed to survive. And so Buddha put his palm to the ground and received the knowledge of all his past karma, his good, his bad, his new lives over and over again. And that is what is known as the enlightenment. He received an extreme divine revelation, and light was casted upon him, and he therefore understood life and the meaning behind it in the context of Buddhism. After students watch this online video created by the teacher, they are provided with other resources online, such as articles, artworks, or music examples and other sources that support the material for the week. Your child is encouraged to take notes and fill out a small question and answer sheet at times. So how does assessment work? After students view this video of the teacher, they enter a class the next day and are informed of the tasks. They are to break off into groups of 3 allocated by the teacher and create a timeline of Buddha's journey of searching for the enlightenment. Each group has either 1. Commencing, 2. The journey, 3. suffering, 4, compassion, and the 5th we do together, the enlightenment. Students go into groups and create and brainstorm what their ideas are on their each individual topic. Then we, as a class, come together with our strategies, ideas, and group work and create an in-class movie that will be uploaded to Moodle. Students can rewatch this movie as much as they like, specifically as exam period comes around. There are guidelines specifying the inclusion and use of origins, principal beliefs, sacred texts, and personal devotion. Students with language barriers, learning difficulties, or different learning styles are supported within this environment. Students are encouraged to come together with collective ideas and create content that they understand together. Parents also benefit from the flipped classroom as you can understand the content of what your child is learning, and together as a family talk about it and discuss it in a more open way.